Good evening, comrades. I'm going to be reading my new article. It was published on Wednesday. It's entitled, Why Does My Generation America Not Rebel? There are many myths surrounding this question, especially by the lazy ones, the defeatists and pessimists of the left. The youth in Libya had a better health and education system than America. The youth in Europe have a better health and education system than America. In both the regions where you have seen rebellions, the poor live in better conditions. The people have more jobs. Sure, the rich live better in the US, but only 1% of Americans are multimillionaires. 4% get a $250,000 per year. When the president, who has failed the nation, especially on taxes, suggests 5% of Americans should be taxed more as they get tax breaks, it's considered controversial by the corporate-owned media. Corporations control US society in their fascistic alliance with the government. The role of the state for some time has been to protect corporations over people, over the citizens of this country, legally giving them more rights than us. The constitutional rights no longer apply. The level of corruption to the highest level is quite apparent. As the destroyer of small business, Walmart, with the cheap Chinese products from a nation we're in debt with, has the protection of the Supreme Court herself to continue their sexist policies. Only individuals can file a lawsuit against powerful Walmart now, giving little chance for a win. On average, for each Walmart opened, 130 small businesses closed, destroying the local economy and what is left of the lower middle class, making angry working class bigger. Polls show 60% and rising as the alternative media rises. Do not find the mass media credible. So not so mainstream is the media. Also, 80% of Americans do not see the government as serving society. The conclusion is Americans are aware the government serves corporations. Those few who vote are not of my generation a majority, especially in local elections, and they are voting for a two-party system they consider evil, although the practical lesser of the evil who they vote for. What happened to the self-esteem of the nation? Did rebels in the streets of Athens, London, and Al-Qaeda today care about what party was voted for in their flawed democracy? They don't care about parties. They care about jobs. My generation is being left behind and attacked by cops. And I feel as internationalists, we are in one world, and for a world without frontiers. But I look at my country in shame and wonder, why have the youth not woken up? All the opinion polls that I know about that are independent have confirmed the overwhelming majority of Americans know the truth. So the myth of ignorance or dumb Americans is not true. Hell, if some European or anyone told me most Americans are dumb, I would try to reason with them, but they would probably end up with a bloody nose. Those that I know, those that know me know I'm not a pacifist. Of course, the punch would be more bitter if it came from someone pretending to be of the left or someone who is American. If you think that, go out and educate. Leave your armchair speculation. These people are really lazy defeatists and more of a threat to us than reaction, although capital is the enemy. I love my people, and to me there is no conflict with being an internationalist and being patriotic. At the same time, being against the system of government we have which is beyond reform, which is why we need radical revolutionary change, which will be permanent. So if it is not ignorance or stupidity, what is it? Arrogance? Having lived in Europe, I have known some of the most arrogant people, the US especially working class, are humble, have consciousness, and know the US is no longer the greatest economy in the world. Though the 60% national budget increased over the years as military more than any other nation combined, and that is directly why the cutbacks of social programs are not quite possibly social security is happening to maintain empire for the benefit of the elites. So why is nothing being done? There's only one principal reason stopping the rebellion: fear. Do not underestimate the power of fear. It has been in the American mentality since at least the Cold War. Now the Russians, no, it was that the Russians were bombers. Now it's the Arabs. But again, Americans are not buying the lies. Americans fear first and foremost their own government. which is not really their government, but for some time has been the government of the corporations, the big businesses who control both parties. 15% of Americans are on food stamps. More and more people over technicalities are getting off unemployment benefits or can't get on them. Those lucky to get on them, 9% populace, are the only ones listed as unemployed by the manipulative government. No one else does this. The government desperately tries to cover up the mess. The numbers don't add up. Most people on food stamps don't work. About 60% of youth are unemployed. These are not recession figures, but depression figures. From ages 18 to 28, I believe, you have mass unemployment. Students out of college in debt because of student loans are forced to leave the country to find work. Those lucky enough to have learned a foreign language take advantage of it and go off to another country like France or Quebec in order to find work. Hell, you have had cases where they learned Spanish and moved to Latin America, wherever their economies unite. All these conditions on the outside look like a revolt around the way, but until we fight fear, nothing will be done on a mass scale, or from various regions of the country at the same time, organizing, communicating, acting. All this can't be done on the level we want it without fighting fear. How can we fight fear? With socialism. Deep down, every leftist knows this. To build a new society, we have to build consciousness. We have to build a united front. Left, libertarian, anarchist, socialist, unite. Worker, student, farmer, unite. We have to build a left opposition, as Leon Trotsky did against all odds in Russia after their civil war. Revolutionaries of the world, unite. Solidarity with the American comrades in these harsh times as well. Let the lion of revolution roar. Thank you, comrades.